Celtics are a great team, and, it's really a shame what happened to Jayson Tatum last night. And I would say 99% that is an Achilles injury. That's exactly what it looked like when Aaron Rodgers went down. And it's really, unfortunate. I knew he was a great player. I didn't realize how great a player he truly is. He was all over the court last night. He was like Spider-Man. And then to have that happen, you talk about having breaks. The Knicks had to deal with this last year when they were playing the Indiana Pacers, and now the Knicks get a couple breaks here, and this is a huge one. This is one of the best basketball players in the NBA. He's down on the ground, grabbing his right ankle, and to me that looks like an Achilles, which is really unfortunate. But I'm sure we'll get more information today. But it's got to be. It's just heartbreaking for basketball fans. I don't ever want to see anything like that. But for a Knicks fan, even before that happened, Jalen Brunson had his Walt Frazier, Willis Reed game night last night. He's the first guy since Walt to do what he did last night. And basically, if you compare the games, I went back and looked at that 1970 game, that May 8th, 1970 game, that Walt Frazier led the Knicks to a championship over the Lakers. He scored 36 points. He had 19 assists. He was 12 for 12 from the free throw line, and he had 7 rebounds. Wow. So Jalen Brunson last night, 39 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds. And he was all over the court. And, he had the game that he needed to have because he didn't have a great game in Game 3. And he was outplayed basically by Derek White. And it seemed that was the way this was going to go last night.
First half, yeah, same thing. And we were texting each other a little bit disappointed in his start because we knew he had to be a superstar to win this game, and he came out in the third quarter and it was there was contributions from everybody in this game. Mikal Bridges, when Brunson was on the bench early on in the fourth quarter, and in the third quarter was very good. OG Anunoby, and by the way, listen, as we'll say it a million times, preface it, no one is celebrating any sort of injury with the Boston Celtics, especially to a great player like that. However, the Knicks were on their way to winning this game before that happened. The rest of the series now, we'll see. But you need some luck in these things. Whether you're the best team or not the best team, you need some luck. And the way that it played out last night, where I see OG Anunoby grabbing his hamstring, and I'm like, here we go. This guy last year, hamstring injury, changed the entire trajectory of the playoffs for the Knicks. I'm like, he's done. He's done. He sits down for a little bit, comes back, doesn't look like anything's wrong with him. And then, of course, the Tatum injury. So that was one of those moments where I was like, wow. Things
changed pretty quickly.
Things really are falling into place here.
Well, they really flipped, and can't say enough about Mikal Bridges. Again, when they win and he does what he does, he's obviously – he's not hitting threes, but when he has those mid-range jumpers, man, it is just amazing. And they don't hit the rim or anything. Yeah, one after another, and did it when Brunson was on the bench, and that's what they need. They need somebody to take control of the team. And quite frankly, yes, you're right. I think this was the game that was complete opposite from Game 3 because all of the Knicks starters now were in positive territory, and all of the Celtics starters were in negative territory. Didn't start out that way, but it certainly played out that way as the game wore on. But, Brunson, Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns had a great shooting night. It was still, they complain so much when it comes down to injuries. And, you see the faces, you see the frowns on the faces, you see, come on, ref, the whole screaming and yelling back and forth. But it was, it was something that I don't necessarily know that I could sit here and say that I expected it because I don't think anybody really expected it. But the Knicks had their Indiana Pacer night because the Pacers did that to the Cavaliers, in their game at home. And the Knicks just came out and they were relentless, especially in the second half.
Yeah, it's really with the Celtics, they're hitting all the threes in the first half. Derek White can't miss. Jayson Tatum can't miss. And then that third quarter, the Celtics were missing, and the Knicks had a plan on offense, and people were contributing. And Karl Anthony Towns had a good game. He was a little bit frustrating. He was complaining a lot. He was committing fouls and screaming about it. He was a little bit out of control at times, but he was very good in this game as well. And we have fun with it, and don't get ahead of yourself and all of those things. And trust me, I'm not trying to jinx anything or touch the money or any of that stuff. But this is how a fan feels this morning. A fan feels this morning, if you're a Knicks fan who's been dying for this for a very long time, that you are up 3-1 on a team that will not have its best player for the rest of the series. And the other team in the conference you couldn't beat in the Cleveland Cavaliers has their backs up against the
Yeah,
wall.
I don't care
3
about
games
that.
to 1. And, well, you should, because this is the first time this has happened in a very, very long time. We haven't seen them in the Eastern Conference Finals. And this is the way this. I don't care. I'm not stopping anything. There was years and years and years and years and years that were totally irrelevant. I could never get excited about anything. So I'm not going to stop being excited because we can't look ahead for some stupid reason. I'm looking ahead, goddammit. They're going to win this series, and then they're going to face the Pacers, who we should have beaten last year. So you can cringe all you want. I don't care. Nothing I say matters into the universe. These are the facts. They are up. They're up 3 games to 1. The Pacers are up 3 games to 1. Those are facts.
I love your passion.
What, you think
I
there's
do.
just something that I can say that's going to change it?
No,
You're nuts.
I mean, my thing is I just always want to be respectful of the game. That's all.
Respectful of the game.
It's respectful of the game, no matter what game they're being played, and know that you're dealing with a champion. You're dealing with an NBA champion. And
they're up 3 games to 1 without Tatum. If you're thinking that they're still going to lose this series or want to sit here and say that anything can happen, you can. I'm not. They're winning the series now.
And by the way,
they're winning the series.
Just by the way,
they're winning the series.
Just by the way,
they're winning it.
Can I just say something?
Luka Doncic is fat. Is that where you're going to go?
Keep forgetting about Hauser. He's not playing.
Yeah,
it's
true.
a big
Right.
loss. That's 2 players. They're missing 2 players.
Yes.
The Knicks have gotten a break here. They're missing 2 key players. One, obviously, the best on the basketball court, and the other, a very good offensive player who's not playing because of an ankle injury.
Yeah.
All I could say is that they're missing 2, and the Knicks aren't missing anybody. And last night there was no Hack-a-Mitch.
No,
The
opportunity did not present itself.
It did not present itself. So that, much like game 3, right? It was game 3. No, game 2. It didn't present itself either. So, these games are going to go back and forth. And I just thought that, the second half was the gritty Knick team that, the fans love. That's the team that we know that, has the ability to show up and play basketball like that.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a moment early on in this game where, the Celtics come out. We obviously know what happened in game 3 on Saturday. They could just run out of the building. Celtics come out. They're up 16-4. Tom Thibodeau takes a timeout. That place, the Garden, went from on fire to completely silent. And everybody in that building was like, here we go again. They're going to get run out of the building again. And I said, has there ever been in the history of NBA basketball a team that is up 2 games to 1 in a series at home in a game 4 in the first quarter, and that's not a single person in that building thinks that it could win the game? And I don't really necessarily blame them, because of what we saw Saturday. But the Knicks came back, got the crowd back in it, and it was one of those special nights. If you were there last night, it was one of those special Knick moments that we haven't seen in so long. I'm trying to, explain to Gina, who grew up in Pittsburgh. I'm like, you don't understand.
You don't understand.
This just doesn't happen.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't happen.
And that's why, in the moment, man, you got to be feeling really good about the way that they played, especially in that second half. I mean, damn, Jalen Brunson went all Walt Frazier on us.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been doing it consistently. I mean,
he had a bad game in game 3. He knew it. And he was a little out of sorts. But last night, that was the best of Jalen Brunson. That's why you went out and got Jalen Brunson. We've seen a lot of those games in the regular season, and especially against lesser opponents. But last night, in the biggest spot, in the biggest moment, he was able to. I don't want to say he took over the game because I thought Mikal Bridges really had a couple moments there. OG Anunoby had a couple moments there.
He had a lot of contributions from everybody.
The rebounding.
Mitch was great.
Right, because especially on the offensive boards, I think they had 12 more rebounds than the Celtics. So they were. There was a lot of things that you got to love in the way that they were going after the basketball last night. And the turnovers were at a minimum. There weren't a lot of stupid passes. There was the one pass by Karl Anthony Towns where Jayson Tatum came in and took it.
Yeah.
And you can see, what's his name? The coach Thibodeau over there going, what the F?
Yeah. And Anunoby driving to the basket, deciding to pass it to Mitchell Robinson.
Please don't do that. Oh, you got to throw it to him over the rim.
Right.
Throw it to him over the rim. Don't bounce pass it to him.
Right.
Don't do any of that stuff. Just over the rim.
Yeah, they're not going to be perfect offensively. A couple issues there, but it really didn't matter. I mean, and the other thing that was so non-characteristic of this team, I mean, how many times we talked about in the roster has changed, but it felt like every single third quarter since Tom Thibodeau got here was a miserable quarter.
Well, it's like the start of the game.
It's amazing. And this third quarter was great, and it was all with the starters. I mean, the starters carried that team in the third quarter, which is the opposite of what we had seen for most of this series. And, man, when Derek White was unconscious in the first quarter, I really thought that there was no chance. The combination of him and Jayson Tatum just not missing. I mean, and Derek White, I mean, the fact that they're still able to get open threes in the way that they do, the Celtics, is so frustrating. But they didn't hit enough last night, and the Knicks at home were able to hold serve, and you really want to finish this thing. You want to win. Obviously, we know how many minutes these guys play. You want as much rest as possible after this series. Take care of business. Go up to Boston. They're not going to have Tatum. Win that game.
And by the
Knicks
way,
in 5? What?
Just so you know that looking at other teams in the NBA playoffs, it's the same thing with them. They play 8 or 9 guys. Their starters all end up playing about the same amount of minutes. So this whole thing about just they're all in shape. They all should play. This is what they play for. This is what they live for. So there's no more discussion about that. This is the all-in time. This is if you want to argue, 3 quarters through the season that they're playing too many minutes and 3 of the top 5 guys are all Knick players. Yeah, okay, great. They want to play. They don't want to sit. And now it's all in time, so playing time has nothing to do with it. What's interesting?
No, but I mean, the point still remains that you'd rather win in 5 than in 6.
Yes,
well, the more rest for anybody is better.
Well,
especially if the other series is going to end in 5.
It's a weird deal, man. Remember, all these road teams, these lesser teams, supposedly won game 1 because the teams that they were playing against. But
the Knicks only had one. The Celtics only had one more day of rest than the Knicks did.
Look what happened. Look what happened. They forgot how to
day.
shoot for 2 games. By the way, so last night the Celtics, it was really interesting. The Celtics, I'm trying to think here. Let me see. The Knicks took 92 shots at the basket. The Celtics had 79.
Yeah,
that's offensive rebounds, that's puts back. And the other thing, too, is that the Knicks limited the offensive rebounds for the Celtics when they did miss. Mm-hmm. That was the other aspect here, too, because, they've been out-rebounded the last couple of games, especially when they lose, especially on the offensive glass.
Yeah, points in the paint. The Knicks, 64-32. They double them up with that, mostly because the Celtics don't score from the paint. They don't even try to score from the paint.
Just keep shooting from 3. That's fine. And it lets everybody back in a game when they start missing like 3 or 4 back-to-back, possessions. Now all of a sudden the Knicks the one thing about Jalen Brunson, again, it's evident. He's just fearless, especially when he goes down and he takes the ball to the hoop. He's going against Porzingis. He's going against Al Horford down there. And somehow he gets the ball off without getting it knocked out.
Now, you put the Porzingis jersey in the freezer. There was one item in the freezer that was visible. It was some sort of 110-calorie ice cream bar. Did a lot of people chime in on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody has their moments. And I told Al, and I covered everything up except for that piece just to see how many people would react to it. Yeah, so those are Japanese strawberry bars.
Japanese strawberry?
Yeah, they're like, I get them from a Japanese market, and they are awesome.
A Japanese market, huh?
Yes.
Huh, interesting. And they're Japanese strawberry bars. What makes a Japanese strawberry Japanese?
They're like a creamy bar.
Creamy Japanese bar.
Yes.
All right. Well, now I'm going to have to try.
Every now and then you need a little sugar fix.
Without a doubt,
It's a very small little bar, but it tastes great. Yeah, and everybody's like, what is that? Al's not going to be happy. And I'm like, okay, whatever it is. All I know is I did my part, and it worked out.
What's the name of it?
Oh, man. Oh, let me see. I'm
going to put creamy Japanese strawberry bar
in. It's
going to come up. Well, hell, it worked last night, putting that jersey in the freezer. Creamy Japanese strawberry bar.
Starts with an M.
Yeah, I don't have it. I'm not seeing anything. See if you can remember it.
Yeah, I'll find it.
See if you can remember it, because
I would say Miyomi's.
Miyomi's, whatever it is, it's got to be in that freezer for the rest of the postseason.
Creamus.
What's that, Al?
He said cream us.
Cream us.
Yeah, that's what he said.
No, it's not that, Al.
It's not cream us, the Japanese strawberry bar. Well, just bottom line is, if
Bring
we're going
that cream.
if we're going to stick to the tradition, we're going to stick to the superstitions as you like to do.
Yeah, I'm not moving it.
That Japanese strawberry bar needs to be nice
The
and
cream
creamy
in the middle.
in that same spot. Creamo Land.